Welcome to Issues in Education. I'm Suzanne Smith for WFSU-TV, alongside my co-host, the Florida State University President, Dr. Eric Barron. Today we're talking with Cherie Rowland and Jane Morgan, two members of the organization called the Women for Florida State University. Thank you both for joining us today.
Thank you.
So Cherie, maybe you could give us a little bit of idea of how Women for FSU started.
Sure. Based on my understanding, the foundation began exploring several years ago the possibility of this initiative, organizing a group that was targeted specifically to women, and in an effort to get them back to FSU. Joyce Miles, who I know at the time was on the foundation board, had done a lot of work with another university who had a similar interest, and so working with her, the foundation board organized a steering committee, and from there
launched.
That's right, that was the beginning, and I know the steering committee, the first one I believe was in 2008.
So what is the focus of the Women of Florida State University? There's a tie-in to bringing women back. Is it from the era of the Florida State College for Women, or how does it work?
I think that this was a progressive and innovative idea because we recognize that sometimes the things that might appeal to women may be different than men in terms of getting them involved. Perhaps they're not. They may be more interested in coming back and reuniting with friends, cultivating new relationships, reconnecting with people that they've known in the past. And so it really has been an effort to look at what's important to women and how can FSU be sensitive to that and bring them back, so not only that they will rekindle their passion, give their time, but certainly in the long run hopes that they will choose to give back in philanthropic ways as well.
So it's kind of interesting to think about because philanthropy is incredibly important for a university today, and here's, I think, this notion perhaps that this is a little bit male-centered in terms of how it is we've approached it. Do you think that's really the way the facts bear out?
Well, I think that historically men made the decisions over what philanthropic organizations received contributions from families and households, and we find now that that's not the case. Women are primarily involved in making those sorts of decisions, and they tend to make those decisions to benefit educational institutions much more so than men. So we knew the time had come, especially given our rich history as Florida State College for Women, to start this initiative. And really I always use the 3 E's. We want to embrace the women for Florida State University, engage them, and empower them. And the empowerment really speaks especially to the young women that are students here.
Now, is there specific significance to the name, the Women for FSU, rather than the Women of FSU?
Well, I think we wanted to make sure we were inclusive and included every woman that was interested in supporting the university. That would be former students, current students, FSU moms, faculty, that perhaps their degree usually is from another institution, and we didn't want their only connection to be their paycheck. So we find that it really engages them. We have most of the female deans on campus are members of our organization.
That's absolutely wonderful. So maybe you could take turns, and how did you get involved? How did you get started in this?
As a graduate of FSU a long time ago, I am on a leadership council for the College of Social Work, and the dean, Nick Mazza, just suggested that I might participate, and because I have always had an interest in women's issues and have been involved with some programs through the College of Social Work that pertain to women. So that's how I got involved, and it's been a very good experience.
And for me, I was shown the opportunity about when this group was being discussed. And most of the women members, I'm a trustee with the FSU Foundation, also participate in our organization. So we have some amazing women here at the university that really came together in 2008, and I believe there were roughly 50 of us, and we call ourselves the steering committee or the founding members, but I think we're up to 200 members now, and I think the growth will be exponential.
Now, you are wearing a key on your shirt. Is that something that's specifically for this organization or specifically for the steering members?
No, that is for our organization, and it's a pin that you may be able to speak about the design of it.
Well, as part of the program planning committee and putting everything together, we wanted to be able to try and capture an expression of our organization in many ways, and symbolically we felt like the key and the owl was a good combination, and we designated or said along with that the wisdom of the past is the key to the future, and we felt like that was a good expression of that.
It's an absolutely wonderful expression, and now it seems like we're going to see the owl everywhere we look as we start to think about past history. And the opening of Ruby Diamond here on top of the banisters is an owl, and an owl is part of the interior. And this same owl is now adorning the front door of Westcott to reach back to the history when this was a university and a college for women.
Right.
One of the things I also like about this is that the Master Craftsman classes made it. And I mean, you know, but people think that, you know, they make the seals and signs and things like that that you see on campus, and benches and the stained glass windows and things like that. But something that tiny and precise, I think it's beautiful and it's amazing.
It is beautiful. We're all very proud of our pins.
That's right.
And they're starting to be something of a collector's item.
They
as far
are.
as I know.
Actually, I believe we are now in requesting stage for the second pressing of these, if you will. They were so popular.
That's wonderful. Now, let's talk about some of the events and activities. You talked about the 3 E's. How do you go about making all those? You said it is embrace. What were the 3 E's again?
Those are really mine.
Oh,
I mean, I
All right.
embrace, engage, and empower women
Okay.
to be leaders, and then leaders in philanthropy as well. And it's really an outreach mission.
Okay.
And we had a marvelous event this past spring called Backstage Pass, to the very best of FSU. And the program planning committee, which my FSU sister to my right was instrumental in pulling that together. And then I participate in a regional outreach committee. So many of our graduates and the mothers that support us and other you know, former students are just too far away from Tallahassee, and they don't often have an opportunity to come back, but they still wanted to embrace that connection. And we provide that through small, very intimate events for the most part around the state of Florida. When a member of our organization will offer her home or her private club and offer assistance to the foundation event planning staff for developing a guest list. And it often gives us a chance to really showcase, I know Cherie can speak more about the showcasing that took place during the Backstage Pass on a much larger scale, but the regional outreach events, we really can bring in professors for a specific academic program, or you know, something unique that's happening. My husband and I had an event in Sarasota in the spring, and we were fortunate that President Barron and Mrs. Barron were able to join us. And they were, I think, very new at that point,
Very
matter
new.
of a couple weeks. And we had actually over 100 people at that event. Wow. And we live in Sarasota, so we had a chance to showcase the College of Medicine regional campus there, and then also showcase that there is a Doctor of Nursing practice program in that area. And the deans were excited and were able to join us, and we were able to bring in not medicine and nursing graduates from Florida State, but just general Florida State supporters, and give them an opportunity to learn more about those 2 programs.
Things
You
they
know-
probably didn't even know were there. Sorry.
Well, no, that's quite all right. You know, it was absolutely a wonderful experience for Molly and I. We had just walked in the door, and I said, you know, we have to go around the state. I need to meet alumni. I need to hear about what's going on. And what I heard back was, we have the perfect venue, and you know, here's 4 or 5 events that you could do. And there, we were brand new. And I will tell you, Molly and I walked out the door, and we knew we had a warm reception coming to Florida State, but we walked out the door and said, you know, we have friends already. It was just such a nice, wonderful, friendly event, and it welcomed us to FSU. And it was great that it was a Women for FSU event that was kicking it off, so it was great.
Absolutely. And I think we're most proud of the Backstage Pass.
Well, tell us about that. I want to hear all the details about this, because I've seen pictures of it, and I saw Mrs. Barron in a lot of them, so I think she really got involved in that. And
they didn't allow me in the door, so this was just
ladies only.
Ladies only.
Well, when we were thinking about what we wanted to do as kind of our annual event or gala event, to just begin this whole initiative, we talked about the Backstage Pass for the planning committee, and it was just an idea that I'd had about being able to showcase the best of FSU, although we didn't begin to cover everything because there are a lot of bests in there. But and allowing people to have access to things that you would not generally ever be able to do if you just were coming here or something like that. So we scheduled a weekend of activities where we started with programs. It was also a bit symbolic because we began the day with programs that were primarily associated with FSU as a women's college, and then ended the day with some of our science, hard science areas, the things that are going on in the progression of FSU over that period as well. So we, Suzanne Farrell from the dance program, she came from New York and taught a class for us. We probably had one of the very first tours of Ruby Diamond while it was still, we had on our hard hats and got to go through that. We were able to meet with female athletes, the athletic program, and hear about some of the special things that they do and the kind of benefits and programming they receive here at FSU. And then, of course, we visited the medical school, which is just doing extraordinarily well, and is in so many other locations throughout Florida in their rural medicine program. And to see the off-grid house, which is something a lot of people don't know about, but is really fascinating. And if you live in Tallahassee and haven't seen it, you really should go by and see that.
So this notion of a Backstage Pass, it's really literal, right?
Absolutely.
Behind the scenes, one college after another.
Right. And we did, I should say that the opening night was at the film school, and it allowed us to highlight the students. There's so much national recognition for graduates from FSU, and you don't always realize that, but increasingly I think FSU is doing such a good job of reconnecting with some of those folks, and they're coming back to help current students. And so we had former students, former professors coming back that evening to share with us their experiences at FSU and the very successful careers that they've had since then.
So you didn't exactly say the word, but you clearly said the concept of mentoring.
Right.
And so how does mentoring fit with Women for FSU?
Well, I think it's something that definitely is one of our objectives, and one of our members and a fellow FSU Foundation trustee, Beth Azor, is heading that up for us and figure out how do we develop that program. So that's just a wish at this point. It's being done very informally, but what we have started is the Gift of Wisdom Mentoring Awards, which we did at our wonderful dinner that capped off this great weekend. And you know, we'll be formalizing that as we go along and get the young women involved with hooking them up with successful women who support Florida State and help guide them through their formative years. And then also giving members an opportunity to nominate women who made a difference in our lives. And that will be the opportunity to provide that annual award.
You're also involved with raising money for Florida State. How, now does this directly go to items that the Women for Florida State University want to do, or does it go specifically in other ways?
Well, I hope I might embarrass you a bit. The Barrons made a wonderful leadership gift recently to start an endowment for our organization, and my husband and I did choose to match that because it was just such an amazing gift, and we wanted to encourage others to do likewise. But that's really to build the endowment for our financial sustainability. When we talk about predominantly encouraging women in leadership and philanthropy, it's to get them involved and engage them, to reconnect reconnect with the university, hopefully open their eyes to giving opportunities. Of course, the gifts will come to the Florida State University Foundation, but they go to wherever their heart dictates that to benefit from their gift. So it's really, there will be a certain element of sustainability needs, but primarily it's to connect women with the academic programs at the university.
Well, and the gifts are coming in, one right after another. It's just absolutely wonderful. Molly's writing thank you notes, and the stack of, she's not keeping up, which is a really nice sign. It's really a nice sign.
Well, let's talk about membership on how to get to find out more about donating or to being part of this group, and how do people learn more?
They can go online. I believe you'll be able to show the website where they can access more information, the foundation website, and it has Women for Florida State. And in terms of, it's not so much, again, as Jane said about, I mean, now that we have the endowment set up, that there aren't dues, they're not, we certainly hope that people will choose to give or to donate in a way that is right for them. I mean, we encourage students to participate, and they may not be able to do as much. To go online and see what the opportunities are, and how we can help you find a place at FSU if you've not been here for a while. That's really, we just want people to reconnect, and we hope that we can be a link to that in terms of people not even knowing, one, that this is here, and secondly, what all the opportunities are at FSU, perhaps since they were here last.
So if we think a little bit about this, here's this idea, it's a couple of years old, the beginnings of events all around the state, because people are willing to give their homes and their time and their clubs to have events and help with that reconnecting. A wonderful event like Backstage Pass, a real look at what goes on at FSU, and now an endowment. So this is something that's blossoming. So just for a second, maybe you could, what will this look like in 10 years?
Oh, that's a good question, a difficult question. I think it's about relationships for me, and I think as a woman and working with women so much as in my career, that I hope that we'll see a larger presence of women coming back to the university, certainly supporting it in whatever way they can, if it's financial, through their time, taking it back to their communities. I know there are pockets of Florida State all over the state of Florida in terms of both programming, sites, and people, and just that people feel like that they have a connection and a home with the university, even if they graduated a long time ago, but that they still have a sense of it being an important part of their life, and kind of the life that they created once they left.
Jane, do you feel the same way?
Absolutely. I just think the outreach mission is just a marvelous opportunity. The campus has changed so much, and the university has changed so much, and this gives us an opportunity to re-engage the women that have not been back to campus in some time, and also to empower the young women.
Thank you very much. It looks something we're all looking forward to. We've been talking with Cherie, Rowland, and Jane Morgan with the Women for Florida State University. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Dr. Barron and I will talk one-on-one about more issues in education.
This is not a university presidency. This is the opportunity to take the Florida State University to the next level. We're attracting a student body that can go off and do great things. I like to get the job done. That's really what I'm about.
For 150 years, the values of Florida State University remain unwavering. Strength, the capacity for endurance. Skill, using one's knowledge creatively. Character, moral excellence, and social responsibility. Together, these values shape leaders who advance our state, our nation, and our world. Strength, skill, character. Florida State University.
Welcome back to Issues in Education. I'm Suzanne Smith, sitting with Dr. Eric Barron, the president of the Florida State University. Dr. Barron, we've been talking about the Women for Florida State University. Why is it important that FSU recognizes the role women play in the university?
Well, I think you could look at it from a variety of ways. You could take the history as a women's college. You could take today, in which we're close to 55% female in our enrollment, and you realize just how important it is to connect to the entire population of FSU alumni and friends.
Your wife Molly has become involved in this group. Why did she decide to join?
You know, I think it was a couple of things. We went to a few events, realized that these were just wonderful people, and we could see ourselves becoming friends with them. So that's one part of it. And I think the other part of it is Molly was really struck by the fact that it said for FSU instead of. She doesn't have a degree from Florida State. She's come here from other institutions, and yet here is this welcome mat to be a part of the community. And so I think that for really caught her attention.
Is that why she decided to do the endowment?
She did. You know, I think part of it is her thought is you always want to be giving back, and it not only makes you feel really good, but you want to give to things that you think are going to have impact. And I think she realized this was a great opportunity, and she said, Eric, our first endowment when we come into FSU, it should be Women for FSU.
You've also had some new hires recently. Tell us about the new VP for Advancement and what that position will involve.
Okay, so basically what we've done is to look across the board from alumni to the foundation to the boosters and realize how important it is that the way that we touch our alumni, the way we touch our friends is very professional, very coordinated, and puts our very best foot forward. And so what we've gone to do is to hire a consummate professional from a university that has a history of philanthropy, and to bring that expertise, and quite frankly, this is a very warm, thoughtful, energetic person in Tom Jennings, who's coming here from the University of Virginia, and bring them to FSU so that we can further the objectives of Florida State.
You've had a lot of plans for the FSU Foundation since you started here back in February. Have they all been enacted, or are you on the final stages of getting it organized just the way you want it?
Okay, so in my view, there's several pieces to this. One of them is leadership, professional leadership. Do you have that for the institution? Can you speak in that common voice? So that's one part that Tom will join us on September 23rd. A second piece is the vision that really connects to people and makes them understand how their hard-earned money will be used to help support the university. And so the deans and I and a lot of other people are working very hard on what are those areas of major importance to the university. And so we're even going to test market this in November with a number of our alumni. And then the third piece is, do you have the people out there that are making contact with your alumni and friends? You don't want to knock on someone's door and say, hey, we're good, please give us money. And of course you can be good and have people want to give you money, but this is about relationships and being connected to our institution. And we're not going to do that if we're not saying hello. And so we need more people that are out there helping us reconnect to alumni.
You've also hired a new assistant VP for University Relations and Communications. Who is that person that you've hired?
Yeah, Jeanette Demeyer is coming from Wisconsin, and this is the way I like to think about it. We're sort of transforming how we're reaching people in the world. There's a lot of social media, newspapers, all sorts of different ways in which we're doing it. We want to hit all of those bases. But I would say the other thing that's really important is to realize that this is a national university, and we have top-ranked programs in many, many different areas. The world needs to know that. They need to know more about FSU. If you start to see where it is that we're weak, I can match us up to other universities all across the country that have much higher rankings than we do based on our accomplishments. But the perception of the university, we fall behind those same universities. And so that perception of FSU has to be much stronger. So again, we want to sit there and look at all the different ways in which we can promote FSU, nationally and internationally.
Well, one of the things that will be promoting a lot during 7 days of opening nights and this October is the newly renovated Ruby Diamond Auditorium.
I can't wait.
What does it look like now?
Well, first of all, you should know that I came in the door with hammers, jackhammers, every kind of noise you can imagine, and everything about the entry of Westcott all boarded up with plywood, with construction behind it.
And the administration building and Ruby Diamond are in the same building.
And they're in the same building, so there was no meeting I had that wasn't associated with all sorts of interesting sound. And the plywood's come down, and the beauty of that building has emerged. And you see the opening of Ruby Diamond and this absolutely beautiful venue for which the acoustics are great. And you can start to imagine the people of FSU gathering for all sorts of wonderful events.
It should be really exciting.
Should be great.
Another exciting event was the convocation ceremony that you had to start off the fall semester. You had some plans for that. How did it work out?
I did. It was great. I will tell you that what FSU had already done, in my view, made the best convocation I've ever been to. It had meaning. We passed the torch from accomplished students and athletes, and we passed those torches, the 3 torches, to incoming freshmen based on their essays. Wonderful ceremony. And then we invited the entire class to come to the president's house for a barbecue. And we asked them all, and we gave them a t-shirt that represented their college. And the idea here is that here's 3,300 people eating barbecue in my backyard, and you could spot a music student instantly by the color of the t-shirt. And so as a freshman coming into this great big university, you could instantly see there's another person with the same interests that I have. And so we had a big thunderstorm, and people, and it had to stop. We had served 3,300 meals already.
Oh my goodness.
So it tells you something about it was fun.
What kind of reaction did you have from the parents as well as the students?
Well, the parents thought that this was wonderful that we were doing it, but the students just, you got this sense that this was already starting to be home. That was great.
What are you looking forward to next this fall in the university?
Well, I'll tell you, the energy levels have changed dramatically because all the students are there. And so any kind of student activity, I like it.
Great. Thank you, President Barron. That's our time for now. Please join us again next month for more Issues in Education. You can watch the premiere episode of Issues in Education the first Wednesday of every month at 7:30 p.m. That means you can see the next new episode on Wednesday, November 3rd on WFSU-TV. Join us as we discuss the latest developments in higher education happening around the state and across the country. If you have questions that you would like us to address on this program, you can email us at issues@wfsu.org. Again, that's issues@wfsu.org. If you would like to see past episodes of Issues in Education, head to the President's website at president.fsu.edu. I'm Suzanne Smith with the Florida State University President, Dr. Eric Barron. For Issues in Education, we'll see you next time.